So basically, if you're trading, you can lose money. Okay. And if you don't know that, you now know that. It's very risky, and you should not trade with money you cannot afford to lose, because you will lose. Sometimes it's just a given factor in trading. Okay? All right, so we're waiting on the crude oil inventories. Let's go ahead and go through. I'm going to ignore your questions right now because I want to go ahead and go through what I see on the charts today. All right now you are reaching a congestion dot on gold, so it could clear that or not clear that. We don't know yet. You also see that we are in a very tight area of congestion on crude. You do have both an ATR in a congestion zone right up above you. If you're looking at the higher time frames, the only thing in the way for crude to go up would be an ATR that is at 57.36. I'm not seeing a lot of selling in crude, so yes, I do expect it to go up. Is it definitive? No, it's not. It can do anything it wants to do. But the way it looks right now, I think it has more potential to the upside. Over on the Dow, you see that you're going into all of these congestion areas here, okay? So will it be able to actually break through and continue down? That remains to be seen. A lot of it depends on the higher time frames. We have been in congestion areas on the higher time frames. Now, if you want to see what I mean by that, then I'm going to show you using multi-charts. This is your congestion zone. It's going from 18,110 down to 17,702. And you can see there's no buying in this at all as it's coming back to touch these areas. Okay, could it come back down to this low at 841? It could. Okay, could they really take the Dow down today, depending on what the FOMC meeting says? Yeah, they could, because they're expected to give some indication that they're going to raise interest rates. People are not going to like it if they say that. This is an emotional report today on the FOMC. Okay, so you can see that I would expect them at least to come down to 7926 over on the 45-minute. Looking at the 720, they may come down to 713. Everybody understand that? Now, the FOMC does not start until 2 o'clock, okay, to 2:30. There is a potential for this to go down at the opening, and then the FOMC comes in and they take it up. It could be vice versa. Trying to see what binaries we have that we could do. And of course, I don't see any other than 850. We do have one. That's going to be $25 of risk. So I'm going to do the 17,850 area and see if it goes there anytime today. You're risking $25, and I'm going to put in a $50 profit target as it stands right now. Actually, I'm going to go to 45 on that, and we'll see what happens on it. Let's look at the DAX this morning. Oh, yeah, I hear that a lot. Everybody says it's looking bleak, but we keep making new highs. It's amazing. See if I can get something. Okay, the DAX should actually retrace some. You've got an ADX value at 87 on the 3-minute. You have an ADX at 70 on the 12-minute. I wouldn't enter that until a retracement occurs because you could get a better premium price. So, and I like bargains, so I'm not going to enter the DAX yet. If you're trading the FOMC, the DAX does typically move more than the Dow does, which is why I like trading it. Why don't you understand that we keep making new highs? Oh, well, it shows you there's no significance to what you think or read about the market. The only thing that matters is the way the market moves and what price bars do. Am I using the meters to look at currencies? I don't trade currencies in the room, viewer 20. Not most of the time anyway. But yes, you can use it to look at currencies. Let's see. See if I can bring it up real quick. And the biggest reason, viewer 20, is because I've got two platforms running. Click on your viewer number, which in this case is viewer 20, and then right click on it and you can add your name. Currencies. hold on just a second. I'm trying to set something up here. And let me see if I can do it. Let's see. Mm-mm. It's all about colors sometimes. You know what, Dan? I don't like Nadex Pro. I don't like the way we set up orders. I really don't like it. I find that the web version's easier for me, for some reason. Yeah. I really, really tried to use the Nadex Pro, and number one, it irritated me because I had to update it all the time. But it was, I just found it much easier to do the other version of it. I still like the web version better for whatever reason. Let's see if I can get this to pull up now. For some reason, it's not pulling in my dollar index. And this thing can be really temperamental when it wants to be. I7. No, it wasn't that at all. A long entry on the DAX. There's not a long entry on the DAX right now. In fact, every chart I have says DAX is going to go down. Okay, it will not pull in the information I'm projecting too much, and we all know that we have issues with that when I'm projecting. So I can't show you the currency meter because I've got so much other stuff running. Let me see if I can do it in multi-charts. I might be able to. I'm waiting on the DAX to actually retrace on the 12-minute. Hmm. That's right. I'm talking to myself, so don't worry. There we go. I would be worried if I didn't talk to myself too. As long as I don't answer myself back, I'm doing good. Although sometimes I do that. Okay, so one of you were asking for the meter on the currencies, and there it is. And I've got to close all of the charts because if I don't, I'll run out of memory. Let's see, save that one. So the meter is showing you, the main one to be looking at is the dollar index. You can see that the dollar index is going sideways right now on the 45-minute. And most of the other currencies are actually turning back up. You can see the Canadian dollar is turning back up, the Aussie dollar is turning up, the Swiss franc is turning up, the euro is turning up, and the yen is turning up. Okay, so that tells me that anything that has a dollar as the first symbol, for example, USD JPY, is probably going to be going down. Anything that has the USD as the second symbol will probably be going up. Okay. Does everybody understand that? All right. Now, someone asked where I would be taking a long position on the DAX. Okay. I don't see the DAX right now in a long position. Okay. You're going down, going down, going down, going down. Now, is it going to retrace? Yes, because we just made a magenta peak here. It could come back up to around 11,750. Okay. Then we would have to wait and see what happens at that level. Right now, as it stands, it looks like we're having increasing volume on the lows. Okay. That's usually a sign that we will go and make another low. So I would not be ambitious to enter a long position at the moment. And the DAX is really one of the biggest ones to trade during U.S. market reports. It usually has actually the most movement. I was trying to see if I could see anything else that we could potentially do a binary on. Um, Could do gold to the downside. I would go out to 11 a.m. It's at 12:07. There's no binaries available on that one. So, can't do that one. We can watch it if something comes available on gold. Then we could potentially do it. Right now, there's nothing there. Does private chat feature work entering me? Maybe. I just can't tell whether you're doing it just to me or whether you're doing it to everyone. I guess it would tell me there, but I've never seen one that was private. So, which is more risky, short term or long term? I think that's an opinion. I don't think there's a way to prove one's more risky than the other one. The closer you are to the market, the more likely that you could actually get stopped out or lose. So you got more noise the closer you get to the market in general. Yeah, I know they came out with a tutorial on Nadex Pro, and I haven't used it in about a month, so they might have changed some things. And I mean, you know, on Nadex Pro, if you're trading one or two instruments, it's kind of easy because it's got this little thing you can drag your orders on. Oh, is that what you're talking about, Dan? Oh, okay. That's the only way I do my orders, and it irritates me because when I click on the symbol, it doesn't go to that. So I quit using it. A lot of people say the downside moves more violently, but again, it's an opinion, guys. What does it matter? And that, when I'm looking at things, does it matter? Okay. And how can you measure it? Okay. Otherwise, if you can't measure it, if you can't put a number and say, okay, on average, a down bar is XYZ, okay, then it has no value to me. Well, I mean, look at gold, okay? Gold moved up violently, but it came down slowly. But that's an opinion. What's violent? Define it. Give me a number. If you can't do that, just opinion. And everybody has opinions, so it doesn't really matter. Let's go look at the NASDAQ and see what the NASDAQ's doing. So on the NASDAQ, we should actually go down to 44.54. Except we're right at the ATR on the 720, which is 44.67. And I don't see any sellers in there. And the ADX on the 180 NASDAQ is at 75. I would expect a retracement to the upside. How many days are you loading, Christian? That's why. Why are you loading 120 days? Do 15 days. 10 to 15 is all I load. You're going to max out NinjaTrader trying to load 120 days. Because I like multi-charts and I like NinjaTrader, so I use both of them. You cannot do this with NinjaTrader. I can do it with multi-charts, though. And first and foremost, I'm a trader. I'm going to use the tools that get the job done. And I like both platforms, so I use both platforms. No, I don't use a free version of multi-charts. I don't use Sierra. I don't like Sierra. I'm not going to use it. Well, you've got conflicting information right now. It's normally clearer than this. Right now, it's very conflicting. The 180 is saying it's going to go down. The 720 is at the ATR. That bar doesn't end until 5:15 today, so you don't really know on that one. And then the 1440 broke through the congestion dot, but we know that it should come back and test the ATR because it broke through. So it should at least come to 4460 and may go lower. It's conflicting information. I'm not doing anything. Yeah, it could do that. Let's see what the Dow's. I'm not seeing anything right now. We've got the Dow at 850, so I'm just not seeing anything else right now. It's formed a congestion dot on the 180. That's the only thing I see, though. We should have about 100 point move on the Dow today. Gold would be 150 tick move. So that's pretty substantial on gold. And on the DAX, about 100-point move. 100 tick move, I'm sorry. If you're trading the currencies, the only ones to trade would be the euro dollar and the British pound dollar. Depends on whether you're looking at futures or Forex. $11 a.m. All right. We have our positions on. We have 2 on crude and 1 on Dow. So I'm going to leave it there for right now, and I'm going to go grab me a cup of coffee, and then we'll be back. There's only one symbol in the futures, Dan, but they're all based against the U.S. dollar. So when you see strength in the euro, It's because the dollar is weak against the euro. All right, do you see how this is coming down? I mean, this is a perfect congestion zone, guys. That's the reason I said I'm better off going short than long. Okay. You know, if you're looking at the scanner window, you can see that you're getting long divergence on the 180-minute chart. It's also oversold on the ADX. It is not oversold on the RSI. It is oversold on the ADX. Okay. You also have easily identified congestion on the 180, 720, and the 1440. And then on the S&P 500, you are in congestion on the 1440. Okay. So one of the benefits of using the scanner is that you can easily identify these areas. You know, here's your congestion zone on the 1440. You can see you have an ATR above price here, ATR below price here. You know, these are just not good areas right now for entry. Would you enter before the ATR flip on 45 with divergence? What market, Dan? We're already in the Dow, honey. It depends on what my higher time frames are telling me. You know, to me, the best entry would have been here. You know, as this is pulling back to this ATR, we've been in this congestion now for days. To me, the best entry would have been to the downside here. Has nothing to do with what my 45 minutes doing. I'm at an ATR on the 720-minute chart. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4 times that it's touched this and moved to the downside. Has nothing to do with this chart over here. Absolutely nothing. All I'm doing is saying, okay, more likely than not, this is a consistent behavior that has been happening for, you know, about a week now. So I think it's going to go back down and test the congestion dot. Do you understand that, Dan? Yeah, this is not one of those times. You don't have an ADX peak, do you, Dan? Right. Now, if that was an ADX peak, what would you do? You would wait, let it retest the flip the ATR, retest the ATR. Okay? It limits your risk. It makes the premium cheaper. Okay? It's not the scenario right now. I'm just saying today we're dealing with an unknown. We're dealing with the FOMC. It is an emotional report. If I'm going to trade this, what would be the most logical trade? The most logical trade would be the congestion zone on the 720-minute chart. That's it. We're not going to read more into it than that. Could it bounce up? Sure it could. Could it go down? Sure it could. Could it stay this way the rest of the day? Sure. Because it can do whatever it wants to do. And I have learned that over years of trading. Normally, this is almost like it's a spring. It's tightening up. There's tension in the market. It's going to go one way or the other. Okay? But it probably won't do it until the Fed announcement today. It's all good. There's nothing below price on the DAX. You get a lot of echo in it, Dan. It doesn't work out very well. Yeah, it does sometimes. Well, when you get a lot of people in the room, then everybody starts talking and you get a lot of echoes. So, and those are going to be recorded, so I'm not sure I want to do that one on it. Yeah, I'm trying to see if we could time the 12-minute NASDAQ because I think we're going to get a magenta peak on it. But I'm trying to load the data right now. I might be out of memory though because I've got more open than normal today. Yeah, it's not going to let me do it. All right, I'll have to use multi-charts. In order for this magenta peak to come in, we need, excuse me, we need volume divergence. It hasn't really retraced back to here yet. And I'm not seeing volume divergence on these lows. Normally, you will get volume divergence before the magenta peak comes in. So I'm waiting to see if we get it. If you notice on the 12-minute right now, sellers are dominating that bar. In other words, as this is making a high, the sellers can't step in. Do y'all understand that? Now, there's still another 5 minutes to the end of that bar, so we have to wait on that. Do you see the delta going to the downside, though? You see how it flipped to the downside here? That tells me we're probably going to get a magenta peak on the 3-minute, retrace back to the ATR. Yeah, you could do a 20-minute binary if you want to. I can't take on any more right now because my memory's going out. I've got a lot of charts open this morning, so. Yeah, and I don't know what's available either. This is on US Tech. All right, Dan, I did your 20-minute binary. Now, this is the thing with the 20-minute binary using a 12-minute chart. You only got one bar, okay? You don't even have 2 bars on this. You've got one. And this one ends in 1 minute and 13 seconds. What do you mean we only need one to diverge? Normally when I'm doing 20-minute binaries, Dan, I'm doing like a 5 and a 20, not a 12-minute. Depends on the formation of the bar and where it's at. Now this next bar has to come straight down for you to make anything. Do you see what I mean now, Dan? You've only got one bar. That's it. If it doesn't do it on that one bar, you're just out of luck. And most of the time on the binaries, how many bars do you need in your favor? Okay, 3. Depending on how far you go out in strike, you need 3. This one, you've got 1. So it's going to have to come straight down. There's no room for error. Not that there would be room for error on a 30-minute binary, but... Dan, what happens if this is a pause bar? That's right. That's why you need 3 bars. And what normally happens when we get divergence? What confirms the divergence? Pause bar or down bar. One of the two. You either have a pause bar or you have a down bar. And because you're trying to trade a 12-minute on a 20-minute binary, if you get that pause bar right now, you lose. Do you understand now, Dan? That's the reason I do the 5 and the 20. If I do the 5 and 20 going into the 20, I got room for a pause bar and still close in my direction. Understand now? It's nothing like education, is there? And that's just thinking it through. You have to put all the pieces together and think this through. Okay, there's divergence. To confirm the divergence, I need a pause bar, correct? Or a down bar, okay? This is a 12-minute. Do I have enough time for that to happen? Not really. And that's why I do the 5 and the 20. I could get the pause bar and then 2 bars in my direction. As long as I'm not too far out, I could still make my profit target. And these pop a lot. I do suggest that you put a profit target in. On that one, you were risking basically $21. If you put an order in, it would be at, let's say 58. Will it get there? I don't know. We'll have to find out. I know it's only got 6 minutes to do it. That's pretty quick, ain't it? I prefer my crude oil over that one. Let's go back, and I'm having to move these screens around a lot. I want to start watching crude to see what it does. Put that one up here. And this is what happens when I run out of memory. See? So now I can't look at the NASDAQ on that one. I just have to watch these, I guess. Let's see if I copy this one and paste it. Not linked. Okay, now we can watch the NASDAQ. Me, I got 16 gigs of RAM, but NinjaTrader can only use the first 2 gigs, which is an issue. Multi-chart is 64-bit, so it can utilize it all, but NinjaTrader can't, not until they come out with the update. The programming language that it's written in, Dan, can only use the first 3 gigs of RAM memory that you have in your computer. Yeah, it's a limitation on NinjaTrader right now. Well, I mean, it's huge on their part, to be honest with you. From my understanding of it, anyway. I don't know what all we're going to have to do to change the indicators. If we're going to have to reprogram all the indicators or what. I mean, I have no idea. I haven't got into that conversation yet. Someone was telling me that AMP was going to provide multi-charts to their clients. I've got to talk to Dennis and see what the deal is on that one. But supposedly people wouldn't have to pay for it. I'm not sure. I got to talk to Dennis on it. Find out. Well, it might be to a version of multi-charts that you can't use the indicators with, because they have a free version now with CQG, but you can't use the indicators with it, so you have to end up buying it anyway. Yeah, I think it's a good value for it. Yeah, I've gotten to the point I don't like TradeStation that much. There's some things I use it for, but everyday trading, not one of them. Dan, do you see what I'm talking about now? That was your pause bar. Do you see how the pattern's holding up? You're just on the wrong time frame. Do you understand that now, Dan? If you did it between a 5 and a 20, probably would have worked out for you. But you needed that pause bar, and there wasn't the time for that to develop. That's where the time factor comes in on the binaries. And you have to be able to calculate that pretty quickly if you're going to be trading those 20-minute binaries. And it, you flip the ATR, it's going to come back to test the ATR, especially to do the magenta peak on the 180. That will need to happen. But you didn't allocate the time for it. And that's important when you're trading the binaries, allocating time. It's time decay. On the Dow trade that we have, I'm not worried about it. Why? Because I have until 4:15 today. Hello. It's got lots and lots of time. By this afternoon at 2 o'clock, you'll start seeing time decay. But this morning, it'll be fine. Oh, there's a couple of them. I've been off 2 ticks. 2 ticks. And I was like, well, that's just great. On this particular one, we needed 3 more minutes. Oh, that's time factor, dear. That is time. And you better realize that when you're trading. Especially a 20-minute binary. Oh, yeah. In fact, really on the future side of it, it's going to be worse, typically, than what it is on the binary side if you're doing out of the money. I don't know, we had $20 of risk on that one. I can't remember now. So, we had 5 contracts, basically $20 of risk. It's $100, okay? You could lose that trading just a couple of contracts. And then some. Seems like it was last Friday I had a losing binary trade. It was 2 ticks. Never hit my profit target. Was 2 ticks away. And, it was jumping back and forth between profit and loss, profit and loss, profit and loss, but never hit my profit target. And I said, well, I'm just going to let it stay because it's 2 ticks. It could close in my direction or not close in my direction. And I actually kept it on there. and I lost. It's like, great. Part of the game. Yeah, I kind of think I've lost the emotional side of it. It's just like, well, shit. Then I go have dinner with Mom. Well, I don't think anything could ever match my worst day, so that's probably why. Had a fabulous morning. Gave back all of that and then some. I think it was like 8,000 for the day. That was painful. I've never done that on a binary. Oh yeah, I was very nauseated that day. I didn't sleep for about a week. I beat myself up pretty bad on it. I never did it again either. Never. When I have a fabulous day, I cut the computer off and I leave. I don't do it no more. That was probably my worst day of trading. Yeah, until they do it. They'll do it one day too. I traded the Aussie dollar one time. This when I first started trading. Okay, really first time I started trading, and I decided to trade a market report, and it was, I don't know, some announcement that came out 5 o'clock that afternoon on the Aussie. So I went in at 3 o'clock, and I was in the wrong direction. It went against me 100 ticks, and I said, well, I'm going to let it ride because what goes up must come down. 150 pips against me. What goes up must come down. 200 pips against me. Shit, I can't take it no more. Got out, and then it came down. I didn't do that no more either. Oh, the crazy stuff that we do when we first start trading, I tell you. Nah. I never forget the painful ones. Very hard for me to remember the great ones. Yeah, I think one of the books I wrote about 1 month, it was September, I remember that. And I felt terrible all month. I thought I was a terrible trader. And at the end of the month, I reviewed, and I'd had a great month. I mean, absolutely fantastic month, but I felt bad all month because there were just a couple of negative trades that stayed with me. Oh, yeah, we're designed for survival. That's for sure. And, a lot of this you don't really realize until you actually go into trading. And you've been doing it for a while. And you start wanting to break the cycle that we get into. And you begin analyzing it. and that's when you figure it out. But until then, just right over your head. I think it's happened to every trader. If they say it doesn't, then I don't think they're being very honest with you, because it happens to everyone, whether you know it or not. There are no great traders that haven't felt the pain that everybody feels as a trader. That's right. You know, most of you know my son's going through basic, and you know, sometimes he says, "Mom, how can I make it?" And I say, "You put one foot in front of the other and just keep going. Don't think about it. Just do." And evidently it worked, because he's doing very well now. But you know, and I was talking to someone yesterday, and we're doing these training certificates for the soldiers. And I've had to go through all these courses, and it was a lot of psychological stuff in there, but basically it's what we deal with day in and day out. You face your worst fear, and you find out that you can go through it, and you can actually overcome it. It makes you a better person. But yeah, you are. I have a sign in my office, Dan. It says, "Even if you fall on your face, you're still moving forward." And I have to read that sometimes, because at least I am moving forward. Ironically, most of the same things that I tell y'all as traders, they tell soldiers in training. Positive self-talk. When you have a negative thought, you dismiss it and replace it with a positive thought, or a positive, I guess you would say, spin on the statement. Do you know in the Army they train the soldiers the same way? Isn't that funny? I thought it was really kind of unique. That's right, Dan. Well, a lot of the same concepts that we go over in the training, you identify the problem, analyze it, come up with solutions, da 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 da. Very logical thinking processes. Same thing that they teach them in boot camp, which is great because my son was raised in that environment. So he's done really well in it. uh, it's surprising what they can teach you in life. Yeah, they're not supposed to use that mentality anymore, John. Now they just have to eat the ground all the time. I tell my son a little bit of dirt never hurt nobody. Now, the one thing, and I want to mention this for those of you that are trading the binaries, you see that the crude trade is doing okay right now. Okay, and we have a market report that's coming out in 10 minutes. The one thing that we can't do on the spreads is trail it, because I would love to do that. In other words, if this goes back to 300, I'm out. Instead, you just kind of have to wait it out. Unless you just want to exit and say, okay, if I see that at 350, I will exit. Okay. That's the only thing I don't like doing the spreads. You actually have to pay attention to it. Okay. And I'm going to wait until Crude Oil Inventories comes out, and then I'll see where it goes. Yeah, you got to be there at the screen. Crude Oil Inventories typically is not a emotional report. In other words, it is either a shortage of crude or an overabundance of crude. Okay? It's been very, very volatile lately, too. But for some reason, I just think it's going to go up. But I could be wrong. Yeah, he's in the room. One thing while we're waiting on this report, let me open up my email real quick because I got to get a number. Let's see. Remember, next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we're having the annual members live trading room. Let me show you how to join that one real quick. I've got to do it in Google. I'll do it incognito. All right, let's pull this over here. Let's go to joinme.com. Oh, join me, I'm sorry. And you're going to join meeting. You have to enter a code. Do y'all see that? And the code is actually listed on the annual members page. In this case, I've created a dummy one for today to show y'all. So I'm going to enter 368-123-048 and then click join meeting. Okay. And that's as simple as it gets. The meeting codes are listed by Sunday for the next week. I've already got all of the meeting codes up for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Now, the Thursday session will use exactly the same link that you used today, which is join.me/tradershelpdesk. And we'll do those every Thursday. They're the free sessions. They go probably from 8:30 to 10 starting next week. Any questions on that? You do have to be an annual member to join the Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday sessions. You lost half of the full loss. That's not bad. But, if you had watched that, Dan, and, this is where you say, okay, if you have a profit target, let's say at 45, and you see it, and you will see it, I know that you will see it because I watch it. If you're seeing it hit 38, 38, 38, 38, 38, your profit target is at 45, and it just doesn't reach there. That's where you have to say, okay, I'm at 38. My profit target is at 45. That's $7. Is it worth that $7 per contract? And I know that it did it last week because I even mentioned in the video, why did you do break even when you could have done, it was 30 something. I can't remember what it was. And it hit that numerous times because I was sitting there watching it do it. And a lot of times you'll see the binaries will hit, very, very close to where you're at, but they just don't quite reach your profit target. I watch stuff like that. on the annual members page, Dan. I will post the video from the annual members webinar at 5 o'clock that day. And that's because I have to delay the post for everyone. Okay, we got 60 seconds for the market report. And let's see. We're going to put this over here so y'all can watch the numbers. Came in lower than anticipated. Let's see what we're doing. I personally haven't had any issues, Christian, so. But I mean, anytime you trade a market report, it's riskier than if you're trading just standard market action. That's the reason you have to be okay with the risk when you go into the trade. But I mean, that's not just in binaries, that's in trading in general. Hell, I've been in the futures and couldn't get out. People that were in the Swiss franc couldn't get out either. I've had my stops jumped. I've had my profit targets jumped. I mean, it is what it is. It's trading. And that is why you have to be okay with the risk when you go in. How many of you have seen me ever exit a trade in the binaries in the room just because, oh, I'm down $280, so I'm going to exit? It is limited risk, okay? I knew going into the trade I could lose X amount of dollars, and I was okay with it. And I do that in the trading room because you need to realize you have to be okay with that risk. Some people will set a profit target of 98 on a binary. You will never be filled. It won't go to 98. Hell, you're lucky if it goes at 93. Even if it's way in the money. These are levels that they are never ever touched. Let me see if I can bring it up for you. Now, we cannot make money off of this, but market makers can because they trade a hell of a lot more than what we do. Okay. So let's do it as pairs. Okay. And let's find something that has some. Let's do Wall Street. Let's do 415. And watch this at rate announcement today. Okay. And you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, basically there's a $5 spread here. Do you see the size is 200, size is 200? Okay, the market makers are going in there making money off of that spread. There is a way to do that. Now, we couldn't do it with enough lots to actually make a difference for us or to make profits, okay? But if you're doing that with 1,000 contracts, $5 times 1,000 is what? 5,000. Market makers do that. That's why Nadex is telling you we're having these issues, because the market makers will do that. We can't, okay? They can. They have, they could do it. Think about this. They could do it here. They could do $6 over here. They could do $7 over here, 6. I mean, look at the difference. $6, $6, $6. Okay, that's 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, $6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a lot of money there. Okay. And that's the reason you better accept the risk when you go in. That's the reason I tell you, limit it to those $20, $30 ranges. Okay? What happens, let's say, okay, I want this one because it's in the money. Okay? You're risking almost $25 to make, you're risking $75 to make $25 because you think that it has a higher probability of closing here. Now, I'm going to do one. Okay, let's do the 11 o'clock one, see if we can get one. Okay, this is deep in the money. Okay, well, it's moved faster than I could get into it. We'll do this one, okay. All right, we're in that one. Okay, now, this is what you need to realize. We have 10 contracts on that. That is a risk of $850. But the probabilities are it will close above this number. Is everybody with me so far? And you damn well better hope it does. Okay. I'm going to pull this one over here. And let's see. This is at 968. Where's 968? There's 968. This is considered deep in the money, okay? Because we are, let me get my little highlighter here. We are here, okay? And price is, shit, let me enlarge it. And price is here, okay? So we're deep in the money. Everybody understand that? In fact, if we counted it, and market makers do this one a lot. Let me do this again. We're here, and price is here. Okay, so we're to strike prices deep in the money. Y'all understand that? And there's 20 minutes left. And you better hope that bar does not come down in that 20 minutes. Could the Dow fall 68, 78, 88, 98, 30 points in 20 minutes? Oh, yeah, the Dow can do that. Okay? And you're risking $850 for $150. That's inverse risk to reward ratio. You better hope you're right. Okay? That's all I'm saying. When you're looking at probabilities, we went in, it was, 85 to the upside, minus 50, so that's 35 to the upside. Now you're only 25% that it's going to close above there. They're changing every moment. If you want to know which one to watch, this is the number that you watch. Oh, wow, you made $5. Oh, you're down 250. Now you're down 10. And you have to let that expire for the full profit potential. The other number that you need to watch when you're doing this is this number right here, because that's the number, that's the magical number that they go by. No, I've done this before. I just don't recommend it for new people, John. It takes a lot of skill to be able to do this one. And it's not skill that I see a lot of people have. Yep. There's times I can do that, John, because the charts are telling me there is absolutely no way that that is going down that low. But it takes skill, and most people don't have that skill level. I've practiced it for a long time. You can't just jump into it. Well, think about if you're trending up, there's no high ADX values, Dan. Market typically will continue up, okay? Unless there's some reason for it not to. You know, you've got a sweet spot that says it's going to reach up to 12,000 like the DAX did, okay? Yeah, nothing in the way, you know, no market reports, you know. I've learned to be very cautious in the room about what I suggest for traders because people will start doing it and not even know what a binary is. Okay. Which is not a good thing. You want to see somebody freak out? Let that number get to $850 and you'll freak out. And yet your indicative index will be above your number, but that number will get to negative 850 and you're like, I can't breathe. Yeah, you better hold on tight. Mm-hmm. I'm going to exit that crude position because we're going to get a magenta peak, I think. And I wanted to lock in that one. The ADX on the 12 minutes above 70, that's why. That's the number that we're watching, and we're watching this number. If that goes below this number right here, you are totally screwed. And I don't care what this says, it is this that matters. Does everybody understand that? Yeah. Well, the 12-minute crude chart, you just had volume divergence and your ADX is above 70. I can lock in $800 in profit. Please. That's a no-brainer there. Now, look at your number. But this was a high probability trade. Can you sit through that? But I was trading probabilities. Well, you just got screwed, sweetie. Because look at your number. And guess what? The last, I believe it's 3 minutes you cannot get out. It's either the last 2 or 3 minutes you're just kind of locked in there. So guess what? You were trading with probabilities, but you might just lose $850. Do you see now why I tell you not to do that? It's all dependent on this sweet little number right here. See, you're still, according to this, $375 down, but you're above this number. So actually, if it closes right there, you would still make $150. But look at the risk. Could you sit through that? Most of you can't, because you're so focused on this that you don't see this over here. And this is what it equates to. Oh, shit, I'm down $300, and you're going to exit when actually if it closes at that number, you wouldn't have lost that money. Understand now? The indicative index is the most important number on that screen right now. Do you see how these probabilities have changed? How many times has this probability changed? Yeah. Yeah, it showed us a full loss, didn't it, Dan? And actually we were in the money. And nobody knew it but me. Now, how many of you in the room would have closed that position at $500? Oh my God, I've just lost everything. Look at your indicative index. What does your indicative index tell you? Your statement is price will be greater than 968. Is this number greater than 968? That's what matters. But this is showing you full loss. Okay? You have lost $850. No, you just can't get out of it right now. So if that pops down to 967.9 or even 968, it has to be greater than 968. So if it closes at 968, you have lost $850. If it stays above 968, meaning 968.01, you have made money. Now you have 22 seconds. All right, I'm going to ask you a trick question. I want to see who knows the answer to it. What was the payout on that if it closes at 977? What's the payout? We were long. What's the payout? The payout's $100. And 100 times 10 is what? $1,000. What is profit on that? It's two different statements. Profit is 150. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? You just made $150. Payout was $1,000, but profit, which is different from payout, okay, was $150. And then you paid $18 in commissions. So basically, you made $130, and you had to sit on the edge of your seat and not look at that $500 loss to do that. Everybody understand that? The indicative index is the most important thing on the NADEX. Most of the time, it's not worth it. Most of the time. I do not recommend it for most of you guys because you don't trade binaries as much as I do. It takes you a while to do that. And if you're trading this profit and loss, you just lost. Okay? My focus is over here. Yeah. When you're in a trade, this is the most important thing for you to look at. This tells me, am I safe or not? Okay, this really does not matter to me. It's just numbers. This matters to me because it's more than numbers. It tells me, am I good or not? Okay. Now, on the crude trade, okay, we made, I think it was $7.90, and we lost on the short side. Okay, the total loss on the short side would be $3.30. So $7.90 minus $3.20, because that was a spread. $3.30. Okay. So on crude, actual profit would be $460 minus the $36 commission would be $424. If you knew how to read the indicators and volume, you would have known just to take the long position, but that requires the indicators. So I guess it costs you $330 by not having the indicators. Oh, that's a joke, everybody. All right, I'm going to close the room today. Again, starting on Monday at 7:30 in the morning, we will have the annual members room. I think if you don't have the annual membership and you have the indicators, I think you can get it for $5.95. I think I have it on special this week. So, all right. I hope everybody has a wonderful day. I enjoyed today. I love teaching, especially the binaries. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next week on Thursday. It's the only day I'll be doing a trading room for everyone. Annual members will be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Check the annual members page for the meeting code. Okay? Everybody have a wonderful day.